We have powerful people. We have total men. Total men, people remember two. They remember Mbio Koinange, and they remember Biwot. But there was another very powerful person, and one of the few Wazungus to be in the Kenyan politics. We are going to talk about Bruce Mackenzie. If I have to mention other Wazungus who joined politics, because they are few, in Taita Taveta, we have Bisil Critical. In Kibra, Langata, we have Leakey, Philip Leakey, a brother to Richard Leakey, sons to Leakey, who is associated with the National Museum. We have very few. Now Mackenzie was born in South Africa, but he came to Kenya. When he came to Kenya, he was strategically placed in the government, in the incoming government, by Governor MacDonald. MacDonald was the last governor before Kenya became independent. He strategically placed him there. In those days, there was somebody whom I've forgotten his name. I think it was Sandys. He used to be a PA in the Secretary of State for Commonwealth and Colonies. He was not on good terms with Mackenzie. So, Secretary of State for Commonwealth and Colonies is similar to what Kenya we used to have somebody called Minister for Local Governments. He used to coordinate the county councils, city councils, town councils, urban councils. And he had the powers to break the county councils and so on, the councils. The same applied to the Secretary of State in London. He could sack a governor. He used to control colonies the way the Minister for Local Government controlled councils. For those who are my age, I think you understand that. But the governor in Kenya had a lot of faith in Bruce Mackenzie that he wrote a TS letter. TS letter is top secret. And it was written down here, from me to you. From me to you, meaning it is between us. But after some years, those documents are usually declassified, especially in developed countries. What I've been saying is supposed to have been declassified, but it has not. That is why I'm swimming alone, talking about classified things which no other person can talk, because they are supposed to be declassified. So the governor wrote to the Secretary of State and said, these two people are bad, but that personal assistant of yours, Mr. Sandys, is the one who is to blame more. And you see, Kenya is going to get independent. This person can assist Britain more than that person of yours who is in London. So that is, with that powerful letter, the British government trusted him. And he was very good in agriculture. So when Jomo Kenyatta came to power, let nobody cheat you. Kenyatta aliteswa sana, just the way we hear nowadays. It is like as if during the first freedom fighting, everybody was seated at home, and Jomo Kenyatta fought single-handedly and won the election and brought up. Kumbe mateso yake atalete uhuru Kenya. We are even being told now, sijui nani the freedom you are having, it is because of so-and-so. Jomo Kenyatta fought with a lot of people. Yes, he was a general, but wars without privates and NCOs, generals alone cannot win a war. So the Britain, Kenyatta was also a sellout. You can even see some of my videos. And Kenyatta was called aside and told, tunakupatia hii on those and these conditions, and that is why Kenyatta went to Nakuru and assured the Wazungu that they are going to sell their land on willing buyer, willing seller. That is when organizations such as SFT, Settlement Fund Trustee, and others were started. And the work of Mackenzie was to look for Europeans who had settled in the White Highlands, who were to sell their land, and their lands were to be sold. It was said to a willing seller and a willing buyer, but the Europeans who are going, Africans would sell at a favorable conditions. Kindly watch other videos I've recorded. And so he was strategically placed, and also strategically placed was Moi, and that is why Moi was rushed up to take over, because the British would want somebody whom they can control. Most of the cabinet, Jomo Kenyatta liked Mackenzie, Bruce Mackenzie, and Bruce Mackenzie was very good, was liked by all the cabinet. As an intelligence officer, I can tell you that is the best intelligence person you can have. Person who, even when the cabinet is divided into two, you find that he can talk to both sides so that he can pass over the intelligence to his people. I do not know when Mossad recruited him, but Mossad was very much interested in him, because if you know the history of Kenya, there is a time that Arabs were so hostile to Jews that it was decided that they leave Palestine to Palestinians and they be taken to Uasin Gishu in Western Kenya. Uasin Gishu County was to be made Israel, and the Jews were to stay there and settle there. So that a person like me who comes from Lugari, I had to leave Kenya, pass through Israel, then Apo Timboroa, come back to Kenya, and then come to Nairobi. But that thing was, so that is why he was placed there strategically by Mossad to monitor how things would happen should Israelites want to come to make their country be Uasin Gishu. You millenniums, you have heard Uasin Gishu Igeda. Then you rush to the pay bill. So that is why he was there. And when he was there, he really assisted the British people. A lot of tenders used to go to the British government and British. He was the chairman also of the CMC, Cooper Motors Corporation, which sold Land Rovers. And if you can see from another video, it was stopped by Murungaru, where he placed there Land Cruisers. Na unajua Mkikuyu, everything he does, lazima kuwe na shokia guoko kana neke murenda kugate die ndirauga ohoro wanyu todo gutire mahite kuga ohoro wama. We now come to how he died. His death, you know, when Amin took over Uganda, he was rejected by the West. But Amin had a Mzungu there, British, who was very close to him. I've forgotten his name. That Mzungu, together with Mackenzie, struggled and made the West accept Amin. So Bruce Mackenzie and Amin were very, very close. But when it came to this Entebbe raid, remember, Amin when it came to Entebbe raid, remember, Bruce Mackenzie was a spy for Mossad. So Bruce Mackenzie with his close friend Charles Jonjo, na alisaidia Charles Jonjo kuwa tajiri. Charles Jonjo and Bruce Mackenzie behind Jomo's back. Was it behind? I don't think so. They planned single-handedly to assist the Israelites. The two of them went and saw Kenyatta. There were three. Don't ask me how I got the information. There were three, and they talked to Jomo Kenyatta and said Israelites were going to raid Entebbe. Jomo Kenyatta had only one question. What repercussion was it to Kenya, government and Kenya? Said, mzee, it has been taken care of. Don't worry, it has been taken care of. Then he said, let it be taken care of. And in case of backlash, let it be seen as though it was members of my government who did it without me knowing. Isijulikane kwamba ni mimi nili-organize hii. Kenyatta told them a Kikuyu proverb which goes by saying, kanyonika kwa weithe na wanyitwa dore wakwa, which means you do what you are doing, but if you are caught, don't involve the Kenyan government. So they organized, and the Entebbe raid was successful, if you ask me. Amin was not happy of Kenya's role, and especially on the role of Bruce Mackenzie. So they stayed for some time, and there were some weapon sellers who wanted to sell weapons to the Ugandan government. And this is what used to happen. They sent Bruce Mackenzie to talk to Amin. He went and talked to Amin. Do you know what talking means? Unapeana briefcase kando with dollars. So Bruce Mackenzie talked to Amin. They agreed that those people will now enter a tender to supply weapons to the Ugandan army. But what Bruce Mackenzie forgot, but what Idi Amin did not forget, was the Entebbe raid. So as Bruce Mackenzie was leaving, Amin came up with a stuffed lion's head. He gave him and said, go and place it in your sitting room. So when Bruce Mackenzie took that lion head, he placed it in the place where they placed luggages, knowing that akifika Nairobi ataiweka kwa nyumba yake. Unknown to him was a time bomb had been placed in the stuffed lion head. And the stuffed head blew up as he was overflying Kibiko Forest next to Ngong Hills. That is when he died. Did I say Kibiko Forest? Yes, I said Kibiko Forest. Kibiko Forest is also where Saitoti's helicopter fell down. In intelligence, in other fields, that is a coincidence. But in intelligence, we don't have something called coincidence. Thank you.